Hello, YouTube. It's your boy Nathan coming to you to do another recap video. Today we are talking 90 Day Fiancé Season 12, Episode 3. I Manifested You. So we're just going to get on into it. But before we start, yeah, I just want to say thank you to my subscribers, to all my new subscribers for joining this channel. I hope you guys enjoy my content. I apologize for the last few weeks. I talked a lot about my depression. I'm still battling a little bit of that, so bear with me. And then on top of that, I recently just had a death in my family. So just keep me in your prayers with that. The person was also a big 90 Day Fiance fan. So, yeah, so just please pray for me and my family. But the show must still go on and everything. And so I'm just trying to be strong here and get through these reviews for you guys. So yeah, so thank you guys so much. And for those who already know about it and reached out to me, thank you so much. So 90 Day Fiancé Season 12, Episode 3, I Manifested You. The first couple I want to talk is Thomas and Paula. We met a new couple. It's the final couple we'll meet this season, Thomas and Paula. So we met Paula. She's like, I think she's like 41 from Brazil. And Thomas, he's 31 from LA. Paula works like at a piercing, like has like some kind of like piercing business or whatever, and she does manifestation. She has like all of these like little small like I don't, just like all these like little small items and stuff, and she's one of those people who likes to use like the universe as her as ways of guiding her through life and stuff. Like she has all these like I wouldn't say antiques, but they're like toys and stuff. Like there's like a house and like a little mini couch and everything and whatever and whatnot. And yeah, it was a little different, but she says that the universe led her to meet this guy named Thomas. And then we met Thomas. He's like, okay, she saw with this universe stuff. Here's how we really met. Okay, they've known each other for 7 years. I guess Paula was already in America. Thomas used to live in North Carolina, and they were both like at a mutual like beach party playing volleyball. They were going to be on this like little beach volleyball team on vacation. I guess Paula was there for a week on vacation and stuff and everything. And they were on the same team and everything, and they really hit it off and stuff. They wanted to see where it went. They hung out a lot, but they didn't really like put like a label on it or whatever or whatnot and stuff and everything. But but Thomas really liked her. And so she went back to Brazil, and then he decided to fly to Brazil. And when he flew to Brazil, Paula revealed that she had a boyfriend. And he just like, well, what the heck here? Like, what the heck? Yeah, you're just gonna have a boyfriend and stuff and everything. So, but ultimately, Paula broke up with the boyfriend and got with Thomas, and the rest is history. He said it was a risk running down there to ruin their friendship and everything, but but he wanted to take a chance with love and everything. So they dated. He proposed, and she's officially coming to America from Brazil. So we seen Thomas. I guess like he's getting his like really nice house up and ready and everything. It's gonna be a little bit small, like small closet space for her, but he also mentioned that she's a vegan and he likes meat and stuff and everything. And he like pulled out this like little steak in his refrigerator, and she's just like, the only thing she's gonna think of when she sees this is just like the animal that it came from and everything. So yeah. So they go to the airport. They had their little airport moment and everything. It was really, really beautiful and everything. And she was when she arrived, and he starts crying in the airport and stuff and everything. And she was just like, yeah, the universe let me here. And he's like, oh, here we go. And then Paula gets down on one knee. She's like, you're the reason I'm here. You're the reason I did my K1 visa. You're the reason for the K1 visa. You're the reason with all the documents and the paperwork. I'm here in America because of you and God. I was like, okay, thank you. Okay, thank you for finally saying "and God" instead of the universe and stuff. I don't really understand when people say like the universe thing. Like, if you're a believer in God and stuff and everything, just say thank God for all that. I don't. That's just me. I'm not against anybody who is, but I just don't really understand the whole universe thing or whatever. So before they pack up their luggage and get ready to leave, Thomas made Paula some food, some like was it tofu or whatever, and this dude brought some food to the airport, and he put some beans and like a coffee mug, basically. Well, not a coffee mug, but a coffee like thermal, basically, to keep it warm and stuff and everything. And he gives it to Paula to ask her to drink the beans from the cup and stuff or whatever. I thought that was weird and everything. I don't know why he brought food to the airport and stuff and everything, and they want to just eat this tofu and then drink the beans or whatever. I thought that was weird, but whatever, whatever. So far, I think I'm gonna like this couple a little bit. Like, I think so far out of all the couples this season, they might be my favorite. I'm pulling for them. So they have like a little snarky banter. They actually kind of remind me a tiny bit already of Javon and Annalyn a little bit. So, so yeah, I'm really excited to see how their 90 days comes about. So yeah, that was Thomas and Paula. The next couple I want to talk is, I'm going to get her out the way. We got to talk about the redneck girl, Mallory and Raj. So Mallory and Raj, as we all know, Mallory is in Turkey. We met her a couple weeks ago. She was on last week's episode. She's in Turkey to pick out Raj. Raji said he could come back to America and serve his 90 days. In this episode, there's they're having like a little Turkish tradition to celebrate Raj as he gets ready to leave for America and stuff. He's saying that with his family and everything. They made Mallory basically like put some salt in some coffee and like drink it and stuff. And I guess it's like a symbol, like you're gonna have good times and bad times or whatever and everything and whatnot and stuff and everything. It was a really nice little mini ceremony for them. Raj's family was like really emotional because he's about to leave and stuff and everything. But there are some concerns and stuff. There are just more concerns than just a redneck life that he's gonna have to deal with. So Mallory opens up in this episode about a time. I guess she has an ex-boyfriend. Now she's saying that they never dated, but he's somebody that she's like really close with and stuff and everything. Mallory opened up about this guy named Brandon because apparently a few years ago, Mallory was in a her and her friends were in a really bad car accident and stuff and everything, and are lucky to be alive, how she described it. She was in the hospital. They took out like a lot of her intestines and stuff and everything. This story was like really intense and scary. So thank God that she survived that and everything, because that sounded tragic and everything. But this guy named Brandon was there for her throughout that whole time and everything. I guess he look after her dogs and stuff and everything. Now, Raji knows about this guy, but he's not too thrilled about it because in the we've seen with Turkish men over the years, with Sarper, Bear Khan, and all of them. They're really jealous and possessive over over their women, don't really like their women like talking to other guys, being around other guys, because I guess like they mentioned that the women in Turkey don't are not really around like single guys that like guys that much and everything. It's just a culture thing, basically. So Rashid has, he's upset about this and everything. He doesn't like it. Him and Mallory get into a fight over it, and Mallory's like, "Well, you're gonna have to, like, he's gonna be part of my life, and you're gonna have to accept it or not." And then he's getting upset. I don't like this and everything. You're like, not. We're supposed to get married. You're supposed to be my wife and everything. Well, and she was just like, we ain't gonna get married if you keep acting like this and everything. I'm like, oh, here we go. They starting already. So they get into a fight over that. So after their ceremony, after their little ceremony, and they leave for the airport, Rashid's mom was just like really upset. She was just crying and everything. Just it was just really emotional to see her son leave and everything. So Mallory and Raj, they're in the car on the way to the airport, and as they're going to the airport, a conversation comes up about money. So now now this is where I'm starting to question Raj for a second now. Raji opened up about that there was back in February of 2023, I believe. There was an earthquake in Turkey. I think I do remember that around that time. I think I heard about that. And Raji's parents, their house got destroyed in that earthquake and everything. And now they're living in tents and stuff and everything. So Raji tells Mallory that, since I can't work in America for a couple of months and whatever, like when I can't, like, will you be able to send money to my parents? And Mallory's just like, why are we talking about this now? He was like, well, my brother's going to need to send money and everything. But Mallory explained to Raji, like, look, I have a mortgage. I have a car payment. I have bills and stuff. Americans are not rich. Not all Americans are rich and everything. People like to think, and foreigners like to think Americans are rich when they're not. She said, as soon as I get my check, it boom, boom, it's gone. Girl, I know how that feels. Trust me. I really know how that feels. And everything. So he was just like, Raj didn't really understand that. He was just like, just feel like you don't want to help. And she was like, I do want to help, but you got to understand it's not as easy as it sounds and everything. And my thing is that why is he going to America now, knowing that his parents are living in tents and stuff? Why, like, if my parents were still living in tents, he said that they're trying to rebuild the house and everything because it's been 2 years from the earthquake and stuff. But I get you're going for love and everything. But me personally, if my parents lost their house and from an earthquake and they're still living in tents and I'm the only one that can help them get out of that, I'm not moving to a different country anytime soon for anybody. I'm sorry, Mallory, I'm just saying, I'm not doing that. So I mean, I know he must really love Mallory or whatever and everything, but yeah, I wouldn't be leaving my parents in a tent. That's just me. And judging by the previews, that boy, her little boyfriend or whatever he was, is gonna be showing up, and it's gonna cause all kind of problems. Like I said, I got this whole situation. I just got the whole side eye on Mallory and Ross. I'm sorry. It's just I just pray. I pray nothing controversial comes out later throughout the season and stuff, but I'm keeping a close eye on them. So yeah, that was Mallory and Raj. The next couple I want to talk briefly is Katie and Josh. She likes to blame everything on her OCD. I don't think she has any kind of OCD. I said this last week, and I stand by it. I really think that Katie has Tourette's syndrome. You could see her ticking. Like, it is obvious. And she likes to say OCD all the time, but she ticks a lot. I think she clearly, and somebody else that mentioned it too. I wasn't the only one. I think she has Tourette's syndrome. Nothing wrong if you do, but it's more than that to just OCD. So Katie and Josh, like they're supposed to go to check out the apartment that she signed the lease to that she never saw. But she is so they're still in the hotel and she is so hungover. Because remember last week she was at the club with her friends and drinking like crazy. Now she's just hungover. She said it's just scary that she gets this drunk and everything and doesn't remember anything. And she's wondering if she offended anybody, her friends or Joshua and everything. And Joshua's just like, I really like Katie, but she's a ferocious girl. And some things have to change now if we're going to get married, basically. But she's just in, and he told her like we need to be a little bit more stable if we want to try to have kids and stuff. And she was like, you know what, okay, but I'm just too tired to think about the stuff in the future right now and everything. And she looked awful. So like she really needs to chill out. Like she's a little bit of a I credit this Joshua guy because he has a lot of patience with her. I wouldn't be able to handle someone like Katie in my opinion and everything. So yeah, but yeah, that was basically it. They only had one scene in this episode. So yeah, that was Katie and Josh. Next couple I want to talk is Marissa and Edward. So Marissa and Edward. So Marissa, as we know, last week we met her two boys last week and everything, and we all know Marissa is like a big businesswoman and everything, and the concerns of last week is her ex is about the kids and the ex-husband. In this episode, her sons are about to go on a camping trip with the dad. That the dad, Marissa's ex-husband Michael, comes over to the house to talk to Marissa about what's going to happen with Edward coming. Michael was just like, you know what, nobody's going to be coming for my kids and everything. He's very protective over his kids and everything. He said that if anybody like does anything to him, he will hurt him. Rightfully so. I get it with that and everything. I'm kind after listening to him. I originally thought that this was going to be a arranged ex-husband that wants the girl, wants his ex back and everything and whatnot, and was going to try to sabotage the relationship aspect. But he's thinking more from the father standpoint because since I take it Marissa has full custody over the boys and stuff and everything. So like he just don't want things happening to his kids, and I rightfully understand that. Now, one thing that he mentioned that kind of I understood him even more is that Marissa can be very intimidating based on her career. Like I said, she's a big businesswoman and everything, and Marissa mentioned that she comes from a family that's really wealthy. She was always introduced to really fancy hotels, traveling all the time, and everything. Like she's got money, basically, and her family's got money. And the ex-husband said that he was intimidated by that because he felt like a loser in that situation and judged from that. And Edward just comes from working from a hotel and everything. So, and she had mentioned that a lot last week, which kind of got annoying a little bit, everything, because again, we know how high level you are and stuff and everything, but I appreciate you're still going after somebody who's not on that same level, but at the same time, don't make it to where you sound like you're better than him and everything. Realistically, nobody's really better than anybody. There's probably some things Edward can do that you can't and everything. But I appreciate the hard work and everything. But my thing on that, I'm not intimidated by somebody who lives a luxurious lifestyle that has a little bit extra money, makes more than me and stuff, and has a fancy house and fancy hotels and travel. I'm not intimidated by that. The only thing that I'm intimidated by is this, if they make you feel like you're less than and they punish you because you're not on the same level as them. That's the only thing I don't like about people who are on that. I love people who worked hard and get to where they are. Hard work pays off. But don't make people feel less than and stuff. So I kind of felt for that husband, the ex-husband Michael, for in that moment. But he said, but Michael did say when he gets there, we're gonna have a chat. Though, and it's buzzer battle. We're gonna have a chat, like it or not, and everything, because nobody's gonna come in between my kids and everything. I'm like, all right, dude, you do you, whatever. so, so yeah. Anyway, so after that, Marissa finally goes to the airport to pick up Edward. She wants to surprise him with a present that she said she didn't want to do the flowers or the balloons or the welcome to America sign or nothing. She wants to give him a key to the house. And the producers had asked her, like, well, does this key work? And she's like, no, because everything in my house is digital. Smart. But I just want him to feel like welcome at home and everything and stuff and everything. So she gets to the airport. Edward finally arrives from the Dominican Republic. Edward has never been on a plane before. He's never left the country before. He arrives. He said that when he was on the airplane, that the window was open and everything, and the lady, he was sitting next to the lady who asked him to close his window or whatever and everything, and she asked him, you never flown before? I'm like, no, never, and everything. But he was like, yeah, but I'll do it for you or whatever. So he gets in. They have Marissa and Edward have their little airport moment. She gives him the key and everything, and the producers ask Edward, "Do you have a surprise for Marissa?" And he's like, "Yeah," because remember what she said in the first episode that I'm not going to repeat about the circumcision and stuff. Yeah, well, I just repeated it, but yeah, he said, yeah, there's a surprise with that. so, so we'll see how their 90 days goes. So I'm pulling for them. So yeah, that was Mercer and Edward. The next couple I want to talk is Debbie and Mito. So remember what happened last week? When we met Debbie and Mita, Mita's supposed to be this famous Egyptian actor or whatever, and he's trying to come to America to boost his acting career or whatever. We'll talk more about that in a sec. But when we left off last week, Mito wanted like an extension on before he came to America because his dad was sick. Well, in this episode, Debbie, she's still crying, sitting in her room crying and everything. She said she looked online to try to get the flight changed or whatever, and she said it would cost almost $4,000 to do so. That's ridiculous. And so she texted Mito and said that it's going to be like $4,000, and he responded with no comment. And so a few days later, like, she asked him, like, where are you at and everything? I haven't heard from you. And he was like, I'm at home. And she's like, are you serious and stuff? So she's upset, but her and her daughter decided to still go to the airport. What's her daughter's name again? No, it's not Faith. I forget her daughter's name. But her daughter drives her to the airport, and she says she wants to take a chance at this and everything to see if he still gets on that plane because she haven't really heard from him. She gets to the airport. She has like flowers and everything for him and everything and stuff. She's waiting. She gets to the airport and she goes to the bathroom and starts throwing up. She's crying. She gets sick. She gets sick to her stomach and she throws up in the bathroom. She comes out and she's waiting there, sitting there waiting for an hour and a half for this guy to come through. Now, she says she knows that the flight landed and everything. She don't know what's going on. Hopefully he's just got stuck in customs or immigration or whatever. But she just took a leap of faith and just tried to do this. After an hour and a half of waiting, Mito actually comes down the stairs. He arrives in a surprise. They have their little airport moment, and the producers were like, so Mita, like, why did you decide to surprise Debbie? He's like, yeah, I wanted to surprise Debbie. Yeah, I was gonna wait, but yeah, I wanted to surprise her. She was like, well, I just wanted to strangle him by doing this and everything. And so Mito comes in, they're, after all of that, they're happy to see each other and everything. And the first thing, Mito asks Debbie, he's like, did you call Will Smith and Tom Cruise and let them know I'm here? And she's like, I did, but they didn't respond. Mita comes in and he's like, the producer's asking, can you do some of your acting skills? He's like, yeah, are you talking to me? Are you talking to me? And some other stuff and everything. He's already coming here right out the gate, ready to be an actor and everything. He says, and I want to marry Debbie, but he's really here to be an actor. I'm not a fan of him so far and everything. My thing is to taking part of me thinks that now this is where knowing some backstories with what people told me with 90 Day and the behind the scenes, this is where I think this is probably more of a production kind of type thing, because what you're waiting an hour and a half at the airport. You wasn't sure that he was going to get on that flight or not, and everything. You took a chance and everything. You're waiting for an hour and a half, and then he miraculously shows up and everything. How does that work? How does that work? Even production wise, how does that work? Now I know the producer said that what made you decide to surprise Debbie, but still, what were the odds of her still going to the airport and him coming down an hour and a half later? That's just my opinion on that. But yeah, we'll see how their 90 days goes. So yeah, that was Debbie and Mito. And the last couple we're going to talk is Shay and Annabelle. So, as we all know what happened last week, Annabelle arrived to America. They stayed at that little church hotel, whatever, and everything. And they got their groove on. She bathed them and everything. In this episode, they pack up their stuff. Annabelle likes to really put on Shay's clothes and stuff, put on his shoes and everything. And she was just like, what am I to you, your fiance or your mother? Shay was just like, sometimes I feel like you are motherly. She just starts laughing. They go back, so they right back to the house and everything. Now, remember, Shay's daughter, Allison, is the daughter that lives like next door to him and lives in a house rent free, basically, and she has kids. And she's one of those, well, Annabelle better not come in and take over type daughters or whatever. Shay and Annabelle arrive back home to Shay's house, and the daughter Allison is there with the kids at his house, not her house, his house. The place is messy. He left that house really clean. The kids came in and tore up everything, and they also have two dogs that have dog hair all over the place and stuff. So Annabelle was in a big like shock when she came and see that, like, ah. So she comes in, she gives Allison a hug and everything, and she also gives a hug to Allison's kids. And one of the kids was like, no, don't, no, everything, and all that. Didn't want to be hugged by her and everything and stuff. And yeah, she said she was just shocked by all the mess and everything. So after getting acquainted and everything, Shay takes Annabelle around the house and everything, takes her to the kitchen and stuff and everything. And Annabelle has never used the oven before, so she said they don't have ovens in the Philippines and stuff and everything, and she's never even seen an electric stove. They use the gas stoves over in the Philippines. She's like, I like this kitchen. So then he takes her to the bedroom, and why does Shay have deer heads hanging up on his walls? That is creepy. He was like, he said he used to be a redneck and stuff, and hunting, and there's deer meat and stuff, but I did not expect to see the deer heads hanging up on the wall. He was like, well, when we're about to be intimate, we'll cover him up or whatever. She's like, oh my god, this is so weird. Then Allison and her kids are being real rowdy, so they're about to head back. Allison asks Shay, her dad, for a couple dollars. Shay gives her $20 and stuff and everything. But for some reason, that pissed off Annabelle for some reason. She, she was just like, why did you give your daughter money like that? He's like, well, they're probably going to church tomorrow and they're probably going to stop to get some biscuits or whatever. And it's not a big deal. And he was like, and she was like, well, she lives next door. Like, does she pay? And she was like, no. So it's basically a free house. He was like, yeah, well, she's a single mom. She's struggling or whatever. And Annabelle was just like, yeah, well, at this point, with her being grown, she should be taking care of you, not you taking care of her. We're in that debate right now. I get it. Like, other countries and cultures have that mentality where once you're older, like, it's time for the kids to take care of the parents instead of the parents taking care of the kids. As in America, it's 50-50 at that point. So I see where Annabelle culturally is coming from, but she was like, well, they're kids and stuff, but they're still kids and they're just gonna go get some biscuits. Not like you gave her $100 or nothing. And Annabelle was just like, I don't want to be the evil stepmom, but we're gonna have to put a stop to this like quick and stuff. Annabelle, like, I like you, but you gotta really, really think of it from his point of view. I don't agree that he's letting her live there rent free, but that's his choice. Actually, you know what? Let me take that back. I actually like that. Now if she was on her own, and doing this, then I would have a problem with it. But she has two kids and stuff and everything. I don't mind that. Now she feels like there's gonna be like competition for the dad's affection between the daughter and Annabelle and everything, and that's just a weird. And there probably will be some competition, but I can't stand when people have that mentality. Oh, competition from the kids to the fiance and everything. So I don't know why Annabelle kind of overreacted, in my opinion, in that. So we're gonna be keeping an eye on that throughout the season if she gets in those little attitudes and stuff and everything. So yeah, but yeah, this was another interesting episode. But that was basically it. We did not see Asia and Max from this episode. We're gonna pray for them in next week's episode. Y'all should have seen her. The blood remix track that somebody did for her. It was intense and stuff and everything. So, but yeah, we didn't see her in this episode. But yeah, we finally met all the couples though, and everything, and everybody is in America at this point. Well, Mallory and Raja will be in America next week, so 6 out of 7 couples are going to be in America. We all know Maxwell ain't coming to America, so yeah. But everybody's now here, basically here now. They start their 90 days, so yeah. Anyway, guys, that is the end of my review. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And again, to all of my new subscribers, thank you so much for joining. Hope you guys enjoy my content and everything. Again, please pray for me, my family, my depression. Alongside, I just had a passing of a family member. So just keep me in your thoughts and prayers. But like I said, the show still must go on. I'll be back on tomorrow to recap part 2 of the Single Life Tell-All. And we got some stuff to talk about as we prepare for next week's premiere, The Last Resort, because there's a lot going on with 2 couples that will be on The Last Resort next week. So I'll talk a little bit about that tomorrow. Anyway, guys, love you guys. See you guys soon. Bye, y'all.